I teach people how to be smarter with money versus working harder for money so that they can have a lot more time.
You're still in my
so
thunder. Answer the question. Are you anti-work or are you pro-work?
I'm anti-work.
Kris, you're trending on Reddit. Like big time.
Dude, this is great.
You tweeted, saving $28 every day in 2022 would give you $10K. That's a down payment on your first primary residence.
Yep.
And this is what they're saying on Reddit. This is the bullcrap they expect us to believe while fighting against rising minimum wage. And that post has like 20,000 upvotes.
Really?
On the channel.
What is this? What is this group of? What are these humans called? What is this group of people?
Yeah, this is on the Reddit thread of Antiwork.
Oh, we finally hit a nerve with Antiwork.
Hold on, no, Kris. This is crazy. How can someone save $28 a day?
Yeah, the truth is that there's a lot of people. Half of Americans live check to check, and so if they don't raise their standards, I'm not talking about raising their minimum wages. If they don't raise their standards, if they don't develop new skills, if they don't hack, if they can't figure out how to financially get ahead, then yeah, saving $28 a day is going to seem really, really challenging.
Are you saying though that it's possible to raise your standards no matter what you make?
I think that for the average person out there that has average mental bandwidth, listen, I'm going to shoot straight with you.
Do it.
I look at who I am today and I look at who I was 20 years ago, and I had no skills. All I had was drive, and I had drive from my pain. I was suffering because my parents fought about money growing up. My wife and I got married, and we started fighting about money because we didn't have any. And I was like, oh no, I'm about to relive what I did with my parents. I can't do that. I have to find. So I had a hunger. I had a drive that said, dude, I'll do whatever it takes. But I had no skills. I had no abilities. In the last 20 years, there's this dude out there wrote this book, Malcolm Gladwell. He says, for you to become an expert in something, you need to put in your 10,000 hours. I've now done that 17 times over the last 2 decades. So I've now stacked up so many skills that I went from earning, by the way, minimum wage to then doubling it, and then doubling it again, and then making 100,000 a year, and then $250,000 a year, then $500,000 a year, then $1 million a year, then millions a year. And so, yeah, I feel like I started off with average ability, and I was able to take that somewhere. So sure, in this moment, if you're stuck in a job and you feel underappreciated and you're minimum wage, yeah, in this moment, saving $28, that might seem hard. And you're right, maybe it's impossible with that circumstance. But you know what? It's your life, free country. What are you gonna do with it?
So this is happening on the anti-work thread. And I just have to ask, Kris, are you anti-work or are you pro-work?
Okay, well, this is actually super, super ironic because I teach people how to be smarter with money versus working harder for money so that they can have a lot more time.
You're still in my thunder. Answer the question. Are you anti-work or are you pro-work?
I'm anti-work.
Wait a second.
No, my COO accused me in private. He's like, I feel like you want me to work 50, 60 hours a week. I said, I don't know what you've been smoking, but everyone else here, I care about one thing, your ability to produce a result. If you can produce a result in 10 hours and get your stuff done, I don't care when or how hard or how little you work. It's a results-oriented culture.
Wait, but aren't you the hustle guy, like the get after it guy?
Listen, mistaking movement for achievement doesn't get anyone anywhere. The question is, can you produce a result?
Okay, let's dive into that. What do you mean by that? Mistaking movement for achievement.
Okay, so you've got 2 types of people that are out there. You've got, and listen, this is going to get a little brutally honest, but you've got your 9-to-5 W-2 mindset, and then you have on the opposite extreme an entrepreneur, 100% commission-based earnings, your outcome-oriented person. The W-2 person, literally, if they work really, really, really hard, they make their wage. And then if they decide to work 3 times as hard, they make their same wage. I'm against that. For me, that's kind of socialistic. It's like, in time, you're eventually going to figure out how to game the system to your advantage. And what are you really incentivized to do? Work as little as possible to keep from getting fired. I'm not saying everyone's going to do that, but I'm saying that that's what that financial model has. I am not a fan of that. I believe that every employee in any company should have an opportunity to earn some type of bonus, and the more meaningful, the better, because I want to incentivize people to say, hey, what are you going to do with your opportunity? And I actually like the market to compete, and I like to create an opportunity that says, hey, if you work harder, there's a bigger reward for you. Now, this anti-work group of people, like, let's address this whole anti-work thing. If you're lazy, couch surfing, and not striving for either higher education, higher skill sets, higher opportunities, dude, that's on you. Complain at me all day long and cry for me to be canceled. But what I really want you to hear is that it's no one else's job to fix your life, your financial life. It's not the government's job. It's not your boss's job. And by the way, if you work at a company that doesn't really value you, then ask yourself, first of all, have you tried to value them? Have you actually tried to rise and go for a promotion? Or is it just the culture there that you're at your cap? And if you are, then, and you value having opportunity, then maybe you got to work somewhere else.
But your real estate is built all around getting your time back.
Hey, listen.
You're doing that thing where you're not giving me a straight answer.
It's money arbitrage and it's time arbitrage, and that's the straight answer right there. Which means if my investments are producing, if my time arbitrage, if I'm out there working and I'm saying, oh, I'm an entrepreneur, so I have 10 activities. And the lowest activity I do is grabbing coffee for the team at minimum wage. And then I also grab photocopies. That's also more minimum wage-ish. And then I also make my own PowerPoint slide decks. So that's like $20 an hour. And then I do this other thing and manage my emails, and that's $24 an hour. But at the other end of the scale, and also when I close down this business, I'm worth $1,000 an hour. And when I do this one activity and run this mastermind, I'm worth $4,000 an hour. I would tell that entrepreneur that they're stupid because they're doing minimum wage work and $4,000 an hour work. They should develop a standard. And the standard says, take the bottom 70, 80% of what you're doing. Anything that an entrepreneur is doing, if you have the ability to earn a few $100s an hour, then anything under $100 an hour, you should hire out. You should delegate and you should reclaim your time. And you can do two things with that. One, just enjoy having more time. And that's the anti-work part of me. Or when you start saying yes again is when you alter your standards, which means strive to be a person of greater value. If your highest value is $200 an hour, then say no to everything under $50 an hour and only yes to things that are double that, $400 an hour. You do that every single year and you rebalance every year like that, you're gonna double your income probably every single year as an entrepreneur.
So what you're saying is that you're pro-work, but work on the right things, on the appropriate
let's
things.
redefine work. First of all, 85% of human beings hate what they do. And this is where I think the anti-work people come from.
Yeah.
They're basically saying, yo, if I don't like it, why would I do it? Or there's so much excess opportunity in the world today that why would I lower my standards? There's a part of me that actually respects that deeply. Because in my way, I do the exact same thing. I though don't work. I have a rule. If I don't love it, I don't do it. On Mondays, I shoot videos in the afternoon. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, I work from home. I work from home and I work because it's not work. It's because it's things that I love doing inside my business. You take a look at me on Wednesdays, that's my wife's day. We spend all day together. Take a private jet, go fly somewhere, do something really fun. Friday, it's the kids' day. We might take the jet out, might go, hit up somewhere really, really fun, or we're gonna do Field Trip Friday. Like we're gonna go and spend time together as a family as a part of their educational experience. Saturday's my day, Sunday's God's day. So, I probably work on average, I probably work 25 to 30 hours a week, but I won't work more than that because I value too many other things that are not associated with all my businesses.
Okay, let's flip the coin a little bit. We've talked a lot about the anti-work, which is an interesting thing all in of itself.
I would say that's a fairly new group of people
and
that are
I
learning
would
how
say
to
that,
speak out.
Well, and I think your approach to it is very different than what theirs is. I think a lot of it has to do with the cushiness that we've had since the government's sending checks and checks and checks through all of COVID.
And destroying our money system, by the way. Thank you for taking our fiat system, increasing the money supply in the last 18 months by 40%, now giving us 7%. And by the way, what we're experiencing financially with a 7% loss on the value of the dollar called inflation, it's not done going up. It'll take years to resolve itself. I'm predicting in the next 5 years that the average person will lose half of their money. Oh my gosh. Unless it's sitting in a hard asset. If it's sitting in a 401k, an IRA, or savings, they're just screwed. You need to level up your financial education and do something smarter.
So let's flip the coin though. Let's say we've got an individual who is the work believer. They're the pro-work. They've followed the adage that, just hustle will get you there. And they feel like they've hit a ceiling in their job, in their whatever. What's your ultimate hack to break through that?
Well, So when I was a teenager, I would work with my dad. My dad was a German immigrant, came to this country, and he was a contractor. He was a master craftsman trained out of Germany. When he came here, he had a remodel business, a roofing company, and he provided well enough for his family because he had 9 kids. I'm number 4. I'm right in the middle, and I look back with fondness on my childhood. But I remember when I was a teenager, the economy was doing really well. And I was like, my dad was getting calls and opportunities for more work. And I was like, Dad, you should take that on, expand, grow the company, start another crew. Because he only worked one crew, he had like 6 employees. And he said, no, son, don't do that. I said, what? He said, son, if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. And so it didn't feel right, but I decided to side with what he taught me. And when by the time I got into college and I was really struggling with organic chemistry, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna listen to my advisor. A decade of chemistry, my brain really doesn't think this way, doesn't operate this way. I don't think I wanna be a doctor anymore. And that was super disappointing for me because I had a hard time finding any career training from college. That's all college is, it's career training. It's not life coaching, it's not life training, it's not happiness training, it's not success training, it's just career training. And I couldn't find any career training through the university system that was actually gonna get me where I wanted to go. So I, long story short, I ended up learning entrepreneurship and real estate investment business. And I started doing that as a full-time student. So I had 18-hour credits. I was also working full-time as I had my real estate business going because my dad said, if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. So I'm going to school so my mother-in-law doesn't kill me. I'm working full-time so that I don't have to go deeper into debt. And I'm doing my business because I freaking want to get ahead. And by the time that, after 4 years of that, I got to this point where I was graduating college. Thank goodness. I was, man, that was a monkey I wanted so desperately off my back because I couldn't see myself ever using my degree. But at the same time, my business was producing 6 figures passively. And I didn't need my job anymore. So I quit my job at the same time I graduated college. And I got to this point where I had these 25 homes that were making this good income for me, but even everything was driving me nuts. I was on edge because of my dad's philosophy. And I said, you know what, I'm going all the way. I'm not just gonna ditch 2 of these 3 monkeys. I'm gonna ditch all 3 of them. I decided in that moment, if you want something done right, don't do it yourself. And my adage, my goal ever since is literally, if you want it done right, just don't. Don't do it. If you can, find a way, hire someone else, build a team, hand it off. So I become this king of delegation in my life. So I brought my buddy in from Florida. His family moved to Utah where I was at. I said, take over my real estate. And that day I outsourced 98% of the work and gave up about 20% of the money that it produced. So giving up 20% to reclaim all of that time, no more college time, no more anything time, that gave me the time to really ask, what am I about and what do I want to do with my life? And I would wish entry-level financial freedom on anyone, meaning whatever your expenses in life are right now, if you had enough money on the side from your investments paying for them, you wouldn't maybe feel rich, you wouldn't have your dream lifestyle, but you'd have options because that's all more money is to me, it's just options. And you'd have the options to really investigate and say, wait a second, I don't have to work anymore. So now do I want to? Or what rather is my work? Or do I have a higher mission or a purpose? Or what would I enjoy doing? And, so all my anti-work haters out there, I would just say, on one side, I really get you. I'm just willing to work to put myself in a position so that I never have to work again. And once I got there, I ended up finding my balance. And for me, if I work less than my 25, 30 hours a week, I have a lack of fulfillment because my impact in the world every week is huge. I have millions of people watching all of my videos, and I've got hundreds of businesses that I own now that other people run and operate for me. And every year my net worth is doubling. Like this year, it's a 9-figure increase in my net worth. And I'm loving all of that growth because my wife and I are so passionate about our foundation and what we're teaching our children. But on the other hand, if I work more than 30 hours a week, I'm a grumpy human being. Outside of an event week, right? I have a handful of events a year, which are 16-hour days. Outside of event week, if I work more than 30 hours, I feel like I'm shortchanging my life, my wife's life, and my kids' life. So, there's a balance. And so my argument is put yourself in a position, anti-work folks, and everyone else listening, put yourself in a position where you have options and choices. Instead of crying for people to be canceled and complaining because you didn't like what you heard, do something better with your life.
So Kris, opportunities follow you around like crazy. What opportunities do you have right now that could help a person get into that position?
I think that it's not about opportunity. It's about standards. It's about knowing when to say yes, and it's about knowing when to say no. Most people, if you're anti-work right now, I already know that you're in a no mindset. You've said no to more opportunities in life, and yet you don't really know it. And it's not exactly your fault. If you take a look at the average person's upbringing, by the time you're 16 years old, your parents will have told you no 50,000 times. Don't run in the street. Don't touch that fiery thing. You're going to burn your hands. No, no, no. Don't sleep with that person. Don't make a baby. It's not time yet. Like, no, 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 no. Everything is no, as it should be to some extent. Some of us deliver those no's in less than happy ways. But we have to, we enter this world largely from a no perspective. Magically, then we're 18 and we're supposed to dial in these yeses, but we haven't really learned exactly how. And so if you want opportunity to come in your life, you have to shift from your no world. And I want you to self-diagnose as you're listening. Are you still anti-worker, living in a no world where you see no options and no possibilities? It's because you use the word no inappropriately. You use it when you should, but you use it too often when you should not. If you want opportunity to come, you have to learn to say yes. And so all of a sudden you start saying yes, 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 yes. When you start saying yes, good things can now happen to you as well as bad things, because you're going to experience the chaos of abundance. The chaos of abundance comes from saying yes because you haven't learned how. You're going to use that word wrongly as well. So you use no inappropriately. You're using yes inappropriately, but it will level you up, hopefully more than the other phase that you're living in. And then in the third phase, you start learning from experience, maybe from mentors or books that you're reading. Ultimate success and destiny comes down to the right yeses and the right no's. And if you can start delivering the right yeses and the right no's, you'll have more success. The more successful you become, the more no's you'll have to divvy out and the fewer yeses. So ironically, it's like a chiasmus. We return back to no, but we're doing it responsibly.